Tim.
Hi, Annabel. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too. Thank you so much for coming and bringing this. This is awesome. First time I've seen one in the flesh.
No problem at all.
So
no problem. Glad to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So this is the British Legends edition?
It is.
Okay,
it is.
and it's the, tell me, it's the...
So it's the Richard Attwood British Legends edition.
Yeah.
So Porsche GB made 15 of the red cars to commemorate the 1970 Le Mans win by Richard Attwood.
Yeah.
And there's two others in the set of the British Legends editions. They did 15 white ones for Nick Tandy's win, and they did 15 blue ones for Derek Bell's win.
Oh wow! Okay, awesome. And so they're all red. This is all the Richard Attwood one. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Richard Attwood. They're all red, guards red.
Yeah.
And they come with the Salzburg livery and the number 23 from the 1970 win.
Okay. Awesome. And I see, is that his signature there?
Yeah, so I mean the car's been fantastic. It was a bit of fate how I came to get the car.
Okay, you're going to have to tell me how that.
So I was looking for a Carrera 4 GTS in manual.
Yeah. Nice.
My wife fell asleep in bed, so I found myself looking at the Porsche configurator, and one popped up showing in Porsche Leicester. Yeah. But only had like configurator pictures. It didn't actually have any pictures of the car. So I phoned up the next morning and put a deposit down blind. They didn't have the car. They said it was coming in this afternoon. So the guy said, you can put a deposit down, it's fully refundable, and he phoned me back about 3 o'clock and said, you're the luckiest man alive. It's actually a British Legends edition, one of 15.
Wow.
And we hadn't actually seen the car, and it was misregistered when it got sold to us by Porsche GB, who were the first owners.
Okay.
But he said, I've spoken to the principal and we'll honour the price.
Wow.
So if you're happy to go ahead, you can still have it. And,
oh wow, what a treat.
So I think great believer in fate, and it's probably the first and only time I can remember where it's been too good to be true, but really true. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. So it's manual. You were looking for manual GTS. Were you looking for red?
So I was not. Guards red was one of my favourite colours, and it's been kind of a classic colour. So I was very open to the red. The manual cars are so rare; you just don't see them. So when you see a manual 4 GTS, that was kind of the main trigger. Yeah. And because it was the press car and the launch car, so it was owned by Porsche GB, as I say before me. They actually told me a lot more about the history and stuff, and were very open. So they told me, it was one of only 3 manuals that they produced. They produced 12 PDK and 3 manuals.
Wow! Oh gosh, so super rare.
And they were really helpful. They kind of shared all of the launch photos and all of the behind the scenes when it was on the production line.
That's really nice.
So I've got quite a nice sort of history with it, and it's led to quite a few kind of sessions and meetings with Richard, which has been great as well.
That's so cool. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh wow. Okay, so how long have you had the car?
So I've had it for nearly 7 years now. Okay. So I think Porsche had it for a year, and I had it as the launch car. Yeah. And then I bought it there, and I've had it about 6-7 years. So. Okay. But it gets driven and enjoyed.
For sure. Oh, great. Okay. May I ask what kind of mileage are you on at the moment?
So it's just clocked 15,000 today.
15,000. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, cool. Okay. That's not bad at all, really. Yeah. So okay. So what's your kind of longest journey you've done in it? Have you taken it abroad much?
So I did. I went to Le Mans for the first time last year. So. The Porsche Club Kent region 25, there's about 10 or 12 of the guys that go every year, and one guy, Simon's going to be his 40th this year, and they took me last year for the first time. Nice. And I thought I would take this car, given the Le Mans linkage. For sure. 1,000 miles door to door, but loved it. Great group of guys, and that's one of the things you get with owning a Porsche is the kind of community and their camaraderie, and they've been very welcoming. So
was this your first Porsche?
No, so there's a long story, I guess, with that. So, I guess my first one was a Boxster S, way back in kind of 2001, 2002. Yeah. And I kind of test drove 2 or 3 cars and picked the Porsche as the best handling, the Boxster. Mm-hmm. And then I was driving a route I've driven thousands of times before, and I took a wrong turn. And I went past the Maranello garage, and they had a blue 996 Carrera 4 narrow-bodied in cobalt blue.
Nice.
So I stopped when the deal was done, and I still own that car today.
Oh, cool.
So it's,
Okay.
it's
Nice.
20 years I've had it. It's
Yeah.
part of the family.
Yeah.
Lots of memories,
Oh,
lots of
wonderful.
trips. So
Okay, so you've got the 996 and the 991.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I've got a Sport Classic as well.
Oh, wow.
So all manual.
Oh,
so I'm
cool.
a bit of a manual.
Oh, love that. Oh,
Bigger.
what a lovely selection you've got there. You've got something for everything there.
It is lovely. It's lovely. It's, people always say to me, out of the three, what's your favourite? And it's a bit like your children. You can't have a favourite.
They're all different. They all do different things.
Yeah, I mean, the 996 has got so many memories.
Yeah.
You know, a funny story, true story, is going to an aunt's 90th birthday. My eldest was 1 year old at the time. He was sitting in the child seat in the back.
Yeah.
My wife had been putting raspberries on his fingers, red, and it's graphite grey inside, so it's quite light coloured. He wasn't very well on the way.
Oh, no.
We got out, parked in central London. Viv was holding Jack, and you know he was covered, so I had to strip him. And the man came out of the house with a warm bucket of water and a sponge, walks past Viv and starts cleaning my 996 because he could see the red.
Oh,
and,
my gosh.
And was more worried about the stain to the car than the baby. But
Okay, yeah, I thought when you said you maybe brought the bucket and sponge out for your son.
no, walked past
No,
Viv.
for the
So
car. Straight to the
to Viv's
car.
amazement, he walked past and was more worried about making sure the car was clean.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, cool, awesome. Okay, so tell me a little bit. So, what makes this? What car is this? What has this got on the car that makes for the Richard Attwood edition? Obviously, I see the livery. There's some other little bits inside.
Yeah, so I mean to say that they made 15 of them.
Yep.
You get the Salzburg livery. You get the upgraded power pack, so it's 450 brake horsepower.
Nice. Yeah.
You get on the rear. You get the painted fins.
Nice.
And you get the sports design spoiler on the back.
Yeah. Oh, that's really nice.
And then on the interior, you've got the carbon packs.
Okay.
You get the
May I?
yeah, of course.
Oh, cool.
So you get the carbon packs with the Carrera 4 GTS on the doors.
Yeah, the sills. Yeah.
You got Richard's signature on the B pillar going down the side.
Nice.
And then you've got the carbon Carrera 4
nice.
British Legends GTS going across the front as well.
Oh, and all that Alcantara.
And then you get his signature on the armrest in the middle as well.
I'm just going to have a little nosy in there. Oh, wow, that's so cool. Oh, cool. I like the floor mats.
Yeah,
Are
so
those
they're
OEM? Are they that Porsche?
Yes, Porsche comes with a car, so
Okay.
they're carbon floor mats that
they
come
look
with
great.
it. So
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So have you got any trips planned coming up with the car?
So, but back to the Le Mans one.
Yeah.
My son's the same one that was in the 996. He's 18.
Okay. But he's
and
wanting to drive all the cars now.
He is. He's asking, but the insurance company isn't saying yes.
No.
But he finishes his exams in June,
Yeah.
and he's going to come with me to Le Mans with the group of guys for the first
wonderful.
time. So
That's
got to
nice.
choose which of the cars we take.
Yeah. Does he have a favourite?
So he's got his eye on the 996.
Yep, okay.
So I think obviously the memories and growing up with it.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's quite keen on that one.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, like, you know, with the Sport Classic, it's much more visually striking, and my youngest loves the Sport Classic.
Yeah.
Just because of the nods to the kind of 60s and the retro touches, and it's so well put together.
Yeah, for sure.
And then this one, I really enjoy driving. I think, you know, in my mind, the 4 GTS is one of the sweet spots, and in the whole range. So
No, for sure. It's definitely one of my favourites. The 4 GTS. I just think they're just so capable. It's just got everything in there. Yeah, they're very good cars. Okay, so you've the wheels. Those are the GTS wheels, aren't they?
yeah, the GTS centre locks.
Centre locks.
That come with it as standard as well. But yeah, no, it's a lovely package. There's nothing I wouldn't have changed, and I think the design point was the Le Mans winners spec their respective cars, so they kind of put the designs together as part of the package. So, and as I was saying, it's kind of led to me having a few different sessions with Richard, which has been great.
What do you mean by sessions?
So, like one of them was Porsche South Lakes. We're opening a new centre owned by the Parker family. I think it's the oldest independent Porsche dealership in the UK.
Okay.
Really, really fabulous family. Not close to me, it was a long drive, but they were opening the centre. Richard was going to be the guest of honour, and they asked through Porsche Club GB whether I could bring the car along for the opening of their centre.
That's cool. cool.
And I went up the night before, and they'd arranged dinner with Richard.
That's
So
nice.
we sat there and had dinner and chatted about
That's
Le
so
Mans
cool.
wins and the car,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
he
that's
told me more
wonderful.
about the history and the project, how he worked with Porsche GB to put the British legends together.
Yeah.
And then, from there we've met, a number of times on different things. He's taken me around the PEC at Silverstone.
That's cool.
So,
oh wow! What,
so,
in this?
in this, so there's a few pictures when my son came up to meet him as well.
Yeah.
But I've been around the track in this with him, and driven it together, and let's just say there's a world of difference between him going around and me going around. He makes it look so easy. He's infinitely quicker. It's smooth, and he's got so much time. There's me that's in a rush and a panic, so jerking from one side to the other. So.
Well, that's he's had he's got a little bit of experience. Yeah, for sure. And have you managed to find other owners of the British Legends Edition? Have you managed to all get together, or is that on the card?
Yeah. So one of the things we've done is we've formed a sort of WhatsApp group last year, and as I say, there's kind of 15 red for Atwood, 15 white for Nick Tandy, 15 blue for.
Is that UK? Well, they're obviously all UK based.
So it was Porsche GB that produced. So there's 45 of the cars in the WhatsApp group. We've got 15, 16 currently that are together, and we've managed to find one of the members who's actually out in New Zealand.
Okay. So did he ship the car over there?
He bought the car over there. It was shipped by somebody else before he was the owner. So that's definitely the furthest away we've found. That might be the hardest to do a reunion. We did get 6 of the cars together last year, and we're looking to try and do something this year to see how many we can get, because they obviously had 3 for the launch. And I think 6 is the record so far.
Wow, okay,
But we're working on a few ideas to try and get as many of them as we can.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's really, really cool. Have you got anyone local to you? Do you guys do any meets, like local meets? Or
We're fortunate in that I'm kind of southeast based, and there are 5 or 6 of us that are southeast based. And,
that's great.
And nicely, it works with a blend that there's kind of a couple of each, so you can get red, white, and blue for the 3, and you can get all 3 of the set together in one place. So.
That's really, really cool. Now, what was I going to say? With the car, I'm assuming you're going to keep it as it is. You're not going to do any modifications. You're not just going to leave it completely OEM.
Yeah, I mean, it's been PPF'd on the front end.
Nice. That's always good. But I'm assuming the petrol cap as well, that's PPF'd.
Yeah, so that is. And that, again, I got a new petrol cap, and Richard signed it, and then they've kind of varnished and glossed over the top to kind of protect it, and then it's PPF'd.
Yeah.
But that was part of when I went up to South Lakes, he signed the car, so he signed it under the bonnet.
Oh, really?
And he's signed the petrol cap as well.
Okay.
And he's been great, I have to say. Very accommodating with his time. We went, as I say, to Le Mans, the group, sort of 12 of us or so last year, and because it was my first and I was taking out, we always have a team top, so they had the Salzburg livery this year.
That's really cool.
And Richard signed 12 of them.
Oh, wow.
So that everyone's got a signed really, Richard Attwood cool. Salzburg top, which is nice. But he's been fantastic, really nice chap, really helpful.
Oh, so, that's really wonderful. And I see you've got the little the
143rd. So there is a bit of a story there again.
Go on.
So Porsche made 100 of each, so 100 red, 100 white, 100 blue.
Okay.
The whites and blue arrived in the UK. The reds got lost in transport. They never landed here.
All the reds?
All the reds, the 100 just disappeared. And interestingly, they've never appeared on eBay, never appeared on, so don't know where they've gone. I've seen one other car in China as a model. And one of the guys who ran the British Legends project, and I say Porsche have been really, really great, being their car first. He kind of reached out to Sparks, who manufactured the models, and they had one in their archive, and he got them to part with it. And so it's interesting because I've got 2 sons, so I need to find a second one somehow. So.
Oh God, well, it doesn't sound like that's going to be a very easy job.
Not easy. As I say, I've searched and searched, and. They've never popped up. Only one in China, which I think is again one that was a pre-production model. Huh. So.
Okay, interesting. Okay, cool. Oh, cool. I see you've got obviously you've got Michelin, the right rubber on there.
Yeah, I mean I've kept it the same, and I've always replaced them with what was on the car when it came. And you know, for me, the handling and the driving experience on the 4 GTS is just fantastic. It's, as I say, 450 brake horsepower. I think the official Porsche is like 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds.
Yeah, they're very good
but
cars.
to be honest, I wouldn't want it any quicker.
No.
And I have to say, you know, it sticks to the road like glue.
Yeah.
You know, it puts a smile on my face when I turn it on, and that's before you even get to drive it. But you know, I've always preferred manual. I've always gone with manual cars all the way through. I've got a PDK Macan, but that's kind of the family
wow, so
car.
you've got a lot. Got your Porsche.
Definitely,
Porsche,
definitely.
definitely
All
Porsche
of my cars are looked after by Porsche South London. They've been great as well. They look after them, and they know how precious they are to me. So they're always super helpful, super flexible. They look after the 996, and interestingly, one of the engineers there has serviced it and looked after it for about the last 15 years at a previous Porsche garage, and then South London when it opened sort of 6-7 years ago. So whenever it comes in, the same engineer looks after the
That's
the
really
996.
nice. That's a really nice relationship that you've got with them there. That's wonderful.
And I think my kind of focus or addiction to manual cars was kind of one of the reasons I think I ended up with the Sport Classic. I think they were obviously inundated with people that wanted one, and I never expected, you know, to be offered one. To be honest, it was a complete
You were offered
surprise.
one from new?
Yeah, I've had it from you, and I think it was more because you're an enthusiast than a manual bigot. That you were kind of.
I guess they could see that you had the 996 for so long.
Yeah, and they knew it would be driven.
Yeah.
They knew it would
Be kept,
not be passed on.
Yes.
So
They knew where it was going. It was going to be staying there.
Yeah. So it's back to that point. It's my perfect 3 cars, really. I've got one with lots of history and lots of emotion. I've got this, which I love driving, and you know, it is probably the most exciting to drive out of the 3. And then obviously the Sport Classic is just
they're
a
so
different
pretty.
quality, and something. It's just a nod to the past. Porsche have done such a nice job with the design inside and outside, and the build quality on that.
They've got the little ducktail, don't they?
Yeah, they've got the little ducktail.
I love that.
And the kind of 60 on the side if you go with the factory colours. So,
Now I noticed there's a little book in here.
Yes. Yeah.
So is this just all the history of the this car?
It's the history of this car. So it's just the Richard Attwood edition, and Richard's kindly signed it as well.
Okay. This is very cool. Oh wow. That's so cool.
So there's as I say, Porsche GB were great. They did released all the launch photos, and this is kind of it on the production line in Zuffenhausen, and that's the day when I collected it from Porsche Leicester.
Oh, it's so great. And that was 7 years ago now.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Time flies.
As I say, I'm a great believer in fate, and I think that's probably the one time. Yeah. And I was really lucky.
Oh, so you actually had them together?
They had them together for the launch, and then they have met once. So I think that one is the museum car, but I have about 2 months ago, which is where I met Tom.
Okay.
I went down to see Lee Maxted Page. Again, Richard kind of put me in contact. Because obviously Lee looks after the original 917 winning Le Mans car. So I was lucky enough to go down and have a look at it in the flesh and touch it.
That's so cool.
And then Lee kindly put the 2 cars together at the end.
That's so cool.
So they have met. So
that's really nice.
And it's amazing when you see the 917.
Size.
It just feels almost like a toy when you stand next to it, and like the pictures. There's a couple of pictures of me standing in front of it, and I look like a giant, and the car just looks so small. It makes you wonder, you know, how Richard fitted in there, let alone raced it. It's wild, isn't it? It is. And when I went to Le Mans, we stayed an extra day, and obviously they open up the race circuit, not there's parts of it that are closed, but some of the road parts of the circuit. And so I drove it down the Mulsanne straight, and I parked it up on the Porsche curves, just so it's kind of graced Le Mans track as well. So.
Oh, that's really, really wonderful. Oh, that's really special. Yeah, I love all the little details in there. I love all the carbon fibre too.
Yeah, as I say, I mean, it's definitely a keeper.
For sure.
It's one of those, I'd say I've had it 6-7 years, and it puts a smile on my face every morning I get in, and every time I drive it. So, and the connection with Richard Attwood is a bonus.
For sure. No, that's really, really cool. Yeah, just looking at it, admiring it. And the exhaust, that's all standard, because I heard you pull up when it's fruity.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I wouldn't want it any louder, but I think it sounds lovely. I mean, as I say, it's got
a nice burble.
It has got a nice burble, and plus, even sitting in the garage and turning it on before you pull away puts that sort of smile on your face and makes you feel better. But they have produced a lovely package with it.
Yeah, no, they have. No, it's wonderful. So have you, so you're going to take it to Le Mans with your son in June?
Yeah, so we've got Le Mans penciled in, and then we're putting some plans together for different. I mean, the group's very active, and again, back to the community side. Yeah. You know, there's always something going on most weekends. So
of course,
and the group's been very sort of welcoming to us. I joined during COVID, the Porsche Club GB.
Well, that feels like a long time ago now.
But the 25A is kind of a subsection in Kent that kind of do their own thing as well, which is great. And you know, the nice thing is the boys are getting to the age now where they're really into the cars, and they can be part of that scene as well.
An 18-year-old and how old?
18 and 16.
18
so
and 16.
So Jack's driving. Tom's 17 in September, which is scary. It's a scary thought. So,
oh no, I'm sure they're gonna be fully into Porsche, just like you, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I think they've all got their eyes on different ones.
Yeah,
so just got to watch, make sure
lock the keys up, hide them.
keep them locked away.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm just trying to think if there's any other stories you want to tell me about the car, or any of the other cars as well. Like I know you've got.
Yeah, I mean, true story with the Sport Classic as well. So I went to the garage, not expecting the offer of the Sport Classic.
Yeah, that's quite. I mean, that's not something I've heard, to be offered something like that, having not much history. Well, I mean, you've had the 996, but to have.
I mean, I've had a few Macans and a few, so there are cars that have gone through, but I think, you know, it was a nice thing and a pleasant surprise, and you know, it's probably the second time where it's felt like too good to be true, and you know, as a kind of 50-year-old man, you know, actually getting excited when someone gives you that sort of news. But again, you know, I've had it for just over 2 years now, and I've put nearly 4,000 miles on it. So again, I drive them all. This has done 15,000. The 996 has done about 57, 58,000 miles. So you know, they all get driven, and the nice thing is having the three, you can kind of rotate between them. And you know, I kind of describe it as the 996 for me is like an old pair of shoes. I've had it so long. Whenever I get in it, it just feels great.
Like home.
And the only things I've done aren't stock in that, as I've put the Porsche Communication Plus to bring the connectivity up to, so you got CarPlay and
it's got the new little screen you can put in them
which
now.
is brilliant. I mean, it makes a real difference.
And
it's hands free, and you just go in and it all connects, which is great.
Yeah, it's really cool that Porsche.
And then I've put a short shift gearbox, OEM Porsche part, but again, that's the only thing I've changed on it. Other than that, it's kind of mint. And
well, you've got some special edition cars, so you're not going to fiddle with them too much.
No.
Definitely. Well, not at all, really. Well,
as I say, then with this, I think this is probably the most exciting of the drive, and you know, the highest revving, and has that edge to it, being the GTS. And then I think the Sport Classic is just so relaxing to be in, and you know, the thing that really hits you is how well put together the package is. I think it looks stunning from the outside, and how well engineered it is to drive. And then obviously, you know, with the interior with the cognac leather, the green dials, which is a nod to the 1960s.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And as I say, the build quality on the Sport Classic is something else. And even getting in there, the smell of the cognac leather is just.
Yeah,
again,
for sure.
Something that puts a smile on your face.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was going to say, so he signed. I just want to have a little look at the signature under the bonnet. Have a little nosy. I'll let you do this.
Yes,
cool.
So it's here.
Oh wow! Okay, cool. Nice.
So as part of the South Lakes opening, they did a kind of car signing with this. So he signed the petrol cap, and he signed underneath as kind of part of the day and part of the event.
Oh, it's so cool. It's really wonderful.
And it has kind of kicked off, you know, a little bit of things where we meet up every couple of times a year, and there's different things that we see Richard at, which is nice.
Cool. Is he local or not really?
So he's more up towards sort of Wolverhampton way. Okay. So, but obviously there's normally global events, and he's always at Goodwood.
Yes.
And other kind of national events, as well as bespoke things for like launches of centres and things where he comes and does after dinner or guest speaks. So it was quite interesting. The one at South Lakes, I mean, he was so good with his time with the people. He signed, he did a signing session of posters and photos, and there was about 250 people. He was there for about an hour, just signing, and so his wrist must have
that's really nice
ached by the end of it. He's a lovely chap, really friendly and really down to earth, and tells you some wonderful stories about Le Mans and how he nearly won it the year before but broke down in the lead. But he felt the car was so dangerous that he was actually pleasantly surprised when it broke down. He was relieved that the year before, but then obviously came back to win it in 1970 as the first ever Porsche winner, so it goes down in history. And that's why it was so nice to see the 917, which Lee arranged, which was really nice. You know, it's got to be probably the most iconic looking Porsche, and you know, arguably probably the most valuable Porsche. Being the first Le Mans winning car. So,
it's very special.
And we pushed it out to put it next to the car, and I must admit, I've waited to be steered where to touch it, because I didn't want anything to come off.
They almost look fragile, and it's just because we had a 917 LH last year at Megaphonics, and it's like how that kind of like technology wasn't there. Like there's no safety in that car whatsoever.
No.
It's wild.
Well, what struck me as well is the legs stretch beyond the front wheels. So you think if there was any front end damage, you're probably quite exposed. So and you think of the speeds they went down the Mulsanne Straight in those days. So scary stuff. Braver than I would be.
Gosh. Oh well, Tim, thank you so much for coming in and bringing this. It's so nice to see one in the flesh. It's been a pleasure to meet you. I really appreciate you taking the time to come today. And I'm really pleased to have met you and seen the car.
Thank you.
Thank you
for your
so
time.
much.
Good to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.